The Cigar Nerds Podcast.
And welcome to Cigar Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Smokin' Joe.
I'm Brad Jackson.
And we's be here.
Where is here? I feel like we're in the middle of a hurricane.
Yeah. Don't know if the mics are picking up the hella wind noise, but yeah, it sounds like we're broadcasting from inside a butthole.
Yeah, if it wasn't sunny
Taco
outside,
Tuesday.
I'm pretty sure I'd be like, yeah, dude, there's a tornado upon us.
Yeah, it was like 70, and then it's like, all right, now we're going to make it like 50 and windy, but we're going to still keep the sun out.
Yeah. It's good times. Welcome to springtime.
Yes, yeah. Soon we'll see the witch fly by on her broom, or the cow
No, dude, she'll be flying like sideways or something. Like
drifting.
Whoa. Drifting broomsticks.
So, speaking of dark magic, what are we smoking this week, Brad?
This week we have the Kristoff Ligero Maduro.
Yeah, I was like, I need something a little, a kick this week, and I'm like, if you put Ligero in the title, I'm expecting this bitch better be like full strength.
But at the same time, like, I don't know. I mean, you know, we did the Pissed Off Kristoff, and I was like, man, for such a name, like, it didn't bring a lot of strength or intensity to it. But so far, I'm kind of digging this Ligero Maduro combination. So this is, you know, going to have the dark Brazilian wrapper with a mixture of Dominican and Nicaraguan fillers and a Cuban seed Dominican binder from the Cibao Valley.
Ooh, Cibao.
Yeah, somewhere like that. But where's all the Ligero?
Yeah, it doesn't like specifically say, but you put Ligero on the
I mean,
bag.
it says they're
There's gonna be a
utilizing
Ligero in
3
here
times the Ligero, you know, that I guess they would normally use. Which, now that I finally got past the foot into the first third, I'm fine. This is interesting because it's one of those that you get the spicy of the Ligero, but that Maduro oily kind of sweetness.
That's the thing with Kristoff specifically, like pretty much every one of their cigars has a closed foot. So when your initial light up and first couple puffs, you're getting mostly like straight wrapper tobacco before you actually get into the blend of the cigar.
But I mean, this is definitely kind of a dark roasted flavors. What I get out of this,
According to the manufacturer, it says it should have notes of espresso bean, dark chocolate, a hint of mixed berry, and sweet cocoa finish.
I mean, I sort of get some of that. I mean, it definitely tastes dark. Like, this is one of those that's like, it's dark, it tastes roasted dark. Which, I think this would be a great coffee cigar.
Yeah, like especially that it says that like espresso and dark chocolate. Yeah, that's a very kind of a dark roast coffee flavor.
We're gonna need some like Black Rifle mocha or something to chug with this.
Dude, I was watching a video the other day and someone was like, I don't use creamer in my coffee. I just make Black Rifle coffee and then I use the canned mocha as my creamer. So I put like coffee in my coffee.
That works.
I'm like, hell yeah, you're trying to go all the way up.
Yeah.
Let me get all the caffeine. I don't want to blink today.
Is that how that works? Like, I've never been so caffeinated that I couldn't blink. Like, that
I've
feels
been there
like...
once. There used to be this little coffee shop in town that doesn't exist anymore. But I went there one day, like, depressed. And I'm like, dude, I need something. He's like, wait, I need something that's so strong that no matter how bad I feel, like, I can't, like, be sluggish anymore. And he's like, you need a bucho. And he gave me this drink. And he's like, it tastes like ass. Just shoot it like a shot. But then you won't be able to blink for the next 5 hours. But I had so much caffeine. I think it was like a quadruple condensed espresso with like 50 sugar packets or something. It didn't pour, it oozed like old motor oil. And it just tasted like burnt coffee.
Little chunks of metal.
Yeah, but like doing it back is like one shot. And then I'm like, fucking eyes bugging out of my head for like the next couple hours. I mean, coming down off of that was, that was talk about a caffeine crash afterward, but like I
would be more concerned about the heart attack, during the initial surge.
I made the mistake of drinking one of those before going into school one day, thinking it was going to be like a activity day, and it was like, no, we're sitting in our desk day. And I'm like in the desk vibrating. It's like just shaking the desk because I'm so caffeinated at that point.
That's all the way up.
That'll kill you or get you through finals, one or the other. Yeah, but this being a dark cigar, I figured this week's episode we're going to be talking about a new Netflix movie from Ryan Reynolds, The Adam Project, and this is your good traditional sci-fi where all the bad guys wear black, so they're the bad guys. So I figure a black cigar to go with the Stormtrooper ripoffs from the future.
And I gotta say, I enjoyed the film because it was finally one of those time travel films where it wasn't just trying to be a mindfuck the entire duration.
Kept it fairly simple so your brain doesn't hurt. And if you got to fight stormtroopers from the future, you should call in the Strike Force. StrikeForceEnergy.com. Use your promo code Cigar Nerds for 20% off your order. Comes in a tiny little tin pouch. Keep you caffeinated. It may not let you blink for 5 hours like the Bucho, but it'll definitely get you caffeinated enough to get through your day. And with that, let's go back to the future. And welcome back. We're talking about a Netflix original movie, The Adam Project, directed by Sean Levy, who I heard he's going to be directing Deadpool 3 now. So I guess him.
It makes sense. He almost had the Deadpool cast to, get acclimated and, learn each other's workflows and everything.
But I'm pretty sure it's the same guy that did the Free Guy movie, and that was funny as shit. So, yeah, I see what you do with Deadpool, and this, pretty much.
Dude, you basically get 12-year-old Deadpool.
Dude, they've got to bring that kid in to play Kidpool. If they do like a multiverse thing. Because, there's like Lady Deadpool, Kid Deadpool,
they did
Dog
hint at a
Deadpool.
multiverse in this,
There's Headpool,
film.
which is just his living severed head. It's from the zombie universe. So, yeah, we could, if they decide to go with the full multiverse Deadpool, then, yeah, this kid needs to be in that.
Do we want to set a premise, I guess, before we get into any spoilers, or do we just want to?
Sure, we can.
I guess to kind of set the stage, and the reason we're talking about Deadpool, not just because Ryan Reynolds, but there are a lot of cameos and nods to the Marvel franchise and
the Ryan Reynolds universe.
Yes, the Reynolds-verse.
So yeah, The Adam Project is a sci-fi action comedy, as we said, directed by Sean Levy, but huge cast for Netflix is just pretty much a legitimate film studio at this point. I feel like we say that every time we review one of these Netflix original movies, but huge cast. This one has. Of course, we said Ryan Reynolds, Walker Scoble, who is the new child actor who's playing a younger Ryan Reynolds. We'll get into that. Mark Ruffalo, Jennifer Garner, Catherine Keener, Zoe Saldana from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like a pretty big cast for a direct-to-streaming film.
But at the same time, dude, all these personalities and everything else, and the writing and everything. It was nice to have a, action comedy / drama that it knew its place and placed very well and didn't just try to, we're going to make everything so physiological that, you're going to have a brain aneurysm, trying to comprehend what's going on. Kind
of like the last Terminator movie. It's I hate fucking time travel movies because they're sometimes it's just oh, this is so fucking complicated. I'm like, I need a degree in astrophysics to understand the shit.
Yes, absolutely. So this, this film did a great job of sticking to that, action comedy aspect and not, trying to look how intelligent and everything else. Like, no, get out of here with that. Like,
and two, it's, I guess, there's not really a rating because it's not in theaters, but it's, I would say, equivalent of a PG-13 movie. There's no cussing, there's some violence, but there's no, like, foul language.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not
stuff.
over
so it
the...
definitely can be a family film.
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, and it was, really cool watching basically Ryan Reynolds' 12-year-old self, like...
Yeah, this kid, he's, like, we used to say, who the fuck's Tom Holland? And then we're like, this dude's, like, the best ever. This Walker Scobell kid is going to be huge. If nothing else, just, he has a career of playing, like, Ryan Reynolds' sidekick in movies, because he plays the premise of the movie is Ryan Reynolds is a fighter pilot from the future and has to travel back in time on a rescue mission of sorts. And he crash lands in today's time and has to get help from his 12-year-old self in 2022. So this kid's playing Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds pretty much just plays himself in everything. He's just pretty much Deadpool in everything he's in. And this kid, like, when you first see him and he's getting, like, bullied and just talking shit to the bullies, it's like, are you sure you didn't just CGI Ryan Reynolds down to, like, look younger? Did you take the Marvel de-aging thing to the extreme? Because this kid does a perfect Ryan Reynolds impression.
Just CG out the mustache. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
No, don't do it.
I mean, they made... Marvel's been making a lot of their actors, for flashbacks to look younger. It's like, did y'all just take that, like, instead of making them look 30, you made them look 12? Did you go, like, the extreme on the de-aging? Because this kid does a perfect Ryan Reynolds impression, like the smart ass, like, quips and shit. And especially when they're talking back and forth to each other, it's like, this is just that's Ryan Reynolds. They started this movie like 20 years ago, filmed half of it, and then waited for him to get older to film the other half. It's fucking spooky how good this kid is at playing Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, no, and I thoroughly enjoyed that aspect. So,
I mean, the kid's a smart ass in real life too. I've seen some like interviews and behind the scenes stuff since then, and like one interview's like, how was it playing like a young Ryan Reynolds? He's like, well, it wasn't that hard because he just plays himself in every movie, so I just had to act like him. Like, smart ass. Then I saw a video of him doing.
I mean, it's always better to be a smart ass than a dumbass, anyway.
Then I saw some video of him like doing all like the dirtiest lines from like Deadpool, and like Ryan Reynolds is like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. This isn't my fault. I didn't tell him to say these things," and he's just like, can pretty much quote like the whole Deadpool movie.
I think we did quote that whole movie when it came out, but yeah, from here on out, there's your premise. We about to spoil the shit out of this film.
That's my spoiler alarm.
I wish we had a cool soundboard that way. I could.
It's the next step. We got to get a soundboard that we can drop bits and shit. I got a ham horn on my phone. It's about the best I can do. Bah, 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 bah.
I had that app, but I think it's spyware.
Probably is. All apps are spyware.
Oh, the Russians are coming any second now.
Why do you carry a gun? For Decepticons. I laughed. The toaster laughed. I shot the toaster. It gets more and more real every day.
Yeah. I've seen some things.
Yeah, it's like, dude.
I can't tell you what I've seen, but the things I have seen, like I used to kind of think that you bordered on, he's just got a fascination with sci-fi. Now that I've seen what I've seen, I'm like, there's things that are like far more truthful than we realize.
Yeah, everybody thinks the crazy paranoid guy recording podcasts in his shed is crazy until it's like, oh, fuck, all this stuff's coming true.
I'm realizing how not airtight the shed is as we're recording because the back of my neck is like freezing to death.
You put on a scarf before we
Yeah, I mean,
continue.
it's like a fucking wind tunnel behind me. I kind of feel like this is the opening of Twister, you know, where it's like I'm sitting here trying to hold the door shut and it's just gonna, suck me out into
Or it's gonna
the.
just blow in at some point. Like we're gonna fall off the foundation and roll down the hill.
I mean, we're both pretty heavy guys.
I mean, the GoPro will probably survive. So whoever finds our bodies will have some good footage of.
Oh God, the angles.
Oh, let's upload this to the Meta so you can look at it in 3D.
Isn't that Facebook now?
Yeah. But I did
So is
see
that actually like changed? I don't.
Well, the company changed because that's like the name of their like virtual reality world that they're building is like the metaverse or whatever. But yeah, it still says Facebook when you log in, but the company now is technically, I think, called
I mean, do
Meta.
they even need VR? Like, honestly, I've gotten so far away from Facebook now that it's like, I mean, everything, like, if I were to go on right now and scroll through, I'd be like, this is a fucking virtual reality simulation. Like, none of this shit is real.
Dude,
Like, this is the world's biggest social experiment, you know.
it's like pretty much the only place I interact is on the show page. That's the only place I post things. It's like I don't know when the last time I posted something to my actual like personal Facebook page. This is like the
Don't worry, Meta will post for you.
probably. I mean, I did see a meme the other day since we were talking about.
I need a seatbelt.
Weird conspiracy stuff. It was that there's a shortage of conspiracy theorists, as all conspiracy theorists are proved to be like true.
Well, that's
we're running out of conspiracies.
I mean, that's kind of the thing.
They're all
is
coming
it's like,
true.
You know, it used to be, oh, that's just a crazy conspiracy thing, so we're going to get fact checkers to, weed out the conspiracies, and it's like, nope, the fact checkers are your paid propagandists. The conspiracy theorists were just realists.
Yeah. The world is a fucked up place. Speaking of fucked up place, this movie starts off in a dystopian 2050 that we never actually see other than a cool space chase scene.
I mean, that was the thing, dude. Like, you got that little bit of an opening, and then it's like, all right, we're cutting the cabin in the woods.
I gotta say, I liked his cabin in the woods.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he has like this nice like house, and then his like weird podcasting shed in the backyard is like a legit log cabin with like wood stove and a couch and a nice record collection. I mean, I was like, I want that.
We need more subscribers and money, because I could go for a stove and a cabin and some other things like immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, we could hire us a live-in chef. That
So
way
like,
when
comment,
I'm like,
and subscribe, get our numbers up so we can make money.
I'm wilting away here to mere nothingness, because I realized halfway here that my route is not taking me anywhere near convenient food options, and apparently there was a forest fire. I think maybe trees took down power lines, and in doing so, because there was hella, fire departments, and I'm like, wow, that's quite a few acres of forest that is charred.
I think they were doing like a controlled burn a couple weeks ago, but I would say something like reignited, because I saw the alert that there was roads closed because of forest fire. Because I got behind a fire truck on my way home, and apparently it was going in the wrong direction, because at some point it like stopped and like turned around and went back the direction it came. I was like, y'all didn't pay attention to the GPS, did you?
Ignore that little fire. We got a bigger fire.
Yeah. So yeah, this starts with Adam Reed, played by Ryan Reynolds, like fleeing in a space fighter that kind of looks a lot like an F-22 Raptor. Or that weird drone ship from the movie Stealth.
Did I see that movie? I don't know if I did or not.
You didn't miss a whole lot. It was one of those I think was on at the shop a lot.
Dude, I'm just waiting for Sharkula. Okay, I mean that's the only thing I'm excited for.
What about Sharkula versus Sharknado?
That's a sequel that the world is not ready for yet. And you can't advertise those ideas publicly because somebody's going to do it and they're going to make millions, and it could have been you or I making millions.
So yeah, he's fleeing from
like that one hedge fund person is listening in that's like, haha, $1 billion idea, and I have the capital to put it into motion. Fuck those cigar smoking losers.
Oh, yep. We need to have get paid for our ideas.
I just realized, is there a big D on your hoodie?
Yes.
Okay.
I am the D. I think it was like Danger Dan or something. I forgot what the name of the company is that makes this hoodie. But it had a Grim Reaper on the back, so I'm like, I gotta order that. That looks pretty sweet.
Reap the D.
D's nuts. So yeah, he gets shot down as he's jumping through time and crash lands in 2022 when he was aiming for 2018 and decides to go hide in his dad's log cabin. Where unfortunately he runs into himself.
I mean, but then again, like, you're going back to a familiar place. Like, you don't think some of that is sort of planned? Like, you know, hey, I remember me at 12. Like, these are all the things that, in your 12-year-old perception, are fucked up.
Yeah, when the kid, like, you know, is home alone because mom's on a date because his dad had died a couple years prior. And, tells him, like, don't stay up all night playing video games, lock all the doors. And, of course, he does none of these things. And the dog goes out in the wood barking at something, and he finds, like a burned spot in the woods, but yeah, doesn't see the ship because it's all stealthy, and comes back and finds a bleeding Ryan Reynolds hiding in his shed. Kind of reminded me of whatever Iron Man 2, or no, was that Iron Man? No, Iron Man 3, where he like crashes in the snow and ends up like hanging out in that kid's garage.
I mean, for all intent and purposes, dude, from the soundtrack to the cast and everything else, this was a Marvel film.
Pretty much.
I mean, this was Guardians meets Deadpool meets,
his dad's
a little
the
bit
Hulk.
of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it's pretty much his dad's the Hulk. It's an unofficial Marvel movie. But yeah, when he first finds him, he's like, "What are you doing here?" It's classified. It's classified. And then he's like, "Where's your mom?" She's on a date. With who? I think his name's Derek. Like, the guy with the mouth mullet. Don't worry, he's not important. And it's like, he's like, "Damn it, Adam!" And he's like, "How do you know my name?" And he just starts listing off all the shit that he knows about him. And he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, you're me." And he's like, "I fell and got split open my chin and got a scar." And they both point at the same spot. And he's like, "How do you have my scar? And why are you wearing my watch?" "I'm you, and it's classified."
This is Dad's watch.
Shut up. They even like start yelling at the dog together.
Poor dog. Do not yell at the dog. The dog was the best part.
Yeah, because when they go farther back in the past, it's just a wee puppy.
Like, oh.
"How'd you know my dog's name?" He's like, "Because I named him." And he's like mind blown.
If you ran into your, future or past self, let's say we're the future and you ran into your past self, like...
Here's the bet. I barely remember what I did last week, so I probably would not be able to remember enough about my past to prove to myself that I'm him. What I do last Wednesday? Fuck, I don't remember what I did last Wednesday.
Me either.
Fuck, you are me. You can't remember shit.
That's It's one of those where it's better to be, dumb than try to act overly intelligent.
He's like, I know how much you spank off. Whoa, you are me. Kind of like Dogma when Chris Rock's trying to convince Jay that he's an angel. You jerk off more than anyone on the planet. This dude does know me.
So that all-seeing, at some point, can you, turn a blind eye or, not see?
Look the other way.
We are the Nazi party.
No, we just don't see things. We're not that Nazi party.
Notsee.
That's what I had to explain to someone. I was calling my cat. And someone's like, did you name the cat Nazi? I'm like, no, it's Noxy. Noxi. Not Nazi. But if you say it too fast, people are think, why is he in his yard yelling Nazi at people? I'm looking for my cat, motherfucker.
That is not germane to the situation. The goddamn Germans got nothing to do with it. It's all about the Russians now.
We might get some good movies out of this because back in the 80s, the best movies, it was always the Russians that were the bad guys. Schwarzenegger's got to come make a new movie.
This is me. I'm officially the governor.
I like when he starts going through his bag of future tech, and he finds something that looks like a hilt from Ultra Sabers. It's like, dude, is this a lightsaber? No, it's not a lightsaber. Are you sure? It kind of looks like a lightsaber. No, dude, you watch too many fucking movies. And when the bad guys finally show up, and he turns it on for the first time, and it basically does the full Darth Maul laser staff thing. And he just looks at him and goes dude, that's a lightsaber. Shut up, it's not a lightsaber. It's a Magno staff. But it's pretty much a fucking lightsaber. It does all the lightsaber things, but let's just change it enough so George Lucas, or, well, at this point, Disney, doesn't sue us.
I mean, isn't Disney Marvel and everything anyway? Aren't they one big happy family?
Yeah, I don't think this is Netflix. They're
dude, it's a Marvel movie.
No, if it was a Marvel movie, it'd be on Disney Plus. Speaking of Moon Knight comes out this next Friday. I think start watching Moon Knight.
I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to be.
Trailer looks interesting. I don't know enough about that character, but it looks interesting.
To me, sometimes I enjoy more about not knowing.
Yeah, I have less hang-ups
because
of
then
this.
I'm not trying to compare it to something I've read or something that gives me a perception
to get wrapped up in. I've had a problem today of not cutting enough off the tip of my cigars. It's I've kind of...
Dude, you just got to cut the tip.
I've kind of underestimated my cut. And then I'm like, man, this thing doesn't I'm not getting any flow off this thing. And it's oh yeah, because it needs to open up a little more. Ah, there. Now it can breathe.
Dude, just hang it outside and, let the air blow through.
Yeah, so when the bad guy time cops show up to stop him from doing what he's doing.
Oh, what a great franchise. Time Cop.
With Van Damme? Yeah, there was a Van Damme movie.
I was talking about the arcade, too. Or was that Virtual Cop? But I thought there was a Time Cop arcade, too.
There might have been. Fuck, I don't know. I know that. I think there was
one of those pedal, driven, shoot 'em up games.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, so...
Dude, you can't remember shit.
Yeah, pretty much. So you were sleepy last time, and now you're, over-caffeinated or something, so you're
Dude, I'm fucking hungry. That's all I am.
Hunger keeps you awake. Now you're, just bouncing around.
I just... plus... I drove through Atlanta both directions during rush hour yesterday. And I sort of hate my life for it. I'm still reeling from that. Give me a 12-hour, on the road driving 70, 80 mile an hour. fuck a whole bunch of we're going 5 and stopping.
Yeah.
Like,
that's like when I used to have to go down to like Forsyth, Georgia for training. It was like I'd always end up getting there like 2 hours early because if I left like on time and hit Atlanta during rush hour, it was like there's no way I'd make it. So it's like you either show up 2 hours early or you show up an hour late because you had to drive through Atlanta. And I'm like, no, I'd rather like get here early, hang out at the Waffle House until I actually have to be here.
get some Birch chili.
Yeah, instead of being stuck in Atlanta all morning because traffic sucks balls.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even the morning. It was, like, I left coming at like 3, knowing I had to be near Six Flags before 4, and then back in Swanee before 5. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I can't do that in a company truck because everything's like fucking monitored, and 1 mile over you're speeding, and I'm like,
You were doing 100 miles an hour. You gave me a schedule. Do you want me to give a schedule or do you want me to obey traffic laws? Y'all got to make a decision because I can't do both.
that's why I took my personal vehicle.
But yeah, he finally explains to his younger self his real mission, that he had a wife in the future and then she disappeared on a mission in 2018. He's like, they said her vehicle blew up on re-entry, but she has like the highest re-entry rating in the program, so there's no way she like just had an accident. So I need to go back to 2018 to find out what actually happened to her. So when the bad time cops actually track him back to the cabin in the woods, and he finally pulls out his like freaking not a lightsaber. Kind of like my lightsaber lighter that on the box says not a lightsaber because we don't want to violate copyright. But that's like, there was some like legit, like, it's like the first kind of real action sequence of the film, and it stays fairly action packed.
Dude, I mean, I would say like,
well, there's the plane shootout at the very beginning, but
even like the bully stuff, like, I mean, that's still action. People weren't just stationary. I mean, there was him playing the Oculus, fucking, starshipping it up and whatnot.
I like even when like adult Ryan Reynolds shows up and starts dealing with the bullies, he's still yelling at the one like quiet guy, just like the kid did. And the guy's like, "Why does everyone like? I'm not doing anything. I'm just standing here. Why does everyone keep threatening me?" I'd love it too when he saw that. He's like, "I'm not supposed to do this because it may affect the future, but if you ever like lay a hand on him again, I will fuck you up." And like, and not like child on a playground. I'm talking full on adult. I'm gonna pull the bones out of your body, sharpen them, and stab Marty in the face with it. Do you understand me? And he's like, "Oh, you're peeing now? Oh yeah, you got a real stream going. Now go home, clean yourself up, and forget this ever happened." But the one dude's like, "Why do I keep getting threatened?" I'm like,
I just that whole guilty by association, right? I mean, like,
if you don't stop the bully, you're just as bad as the bully. You are a bully enabler. Yeah.
Don't be an enabler. Be a disabler.
Don't know what that means, but I like it. That sounds like something like...
Tired of your bullies being enabled? Call the disabled.
A
whole bunch of people roll up on wheelchairs and shit, like, getting crutches. Yes. We're here to offend one and all.
We've had a YouTube channel for about 2 weeks, and now we're canceled.
Dude, I feel like that would be a fucking epic South Park skit or something, though. Like,
that's okay. We only got like 7 subscribers, so I don't think we can get banned yet. We're not popular enough. We can still see whatever we want. As long as we don't like play copyrighted music or something, we're good. Shit. But yeah, when the bad guys...
we just got to do a reaction face.
Yeah, we're commentating on things.
Ah, yes.
But yeah, that first like scene of him fighting the future stormtroopers, which you never know if they're like robots or actual people in some kind of like battle. But I like when since this is like a kid's movie, there's not like blood and guts. When he kills somebody, they just like burst into like rainbow sparkles. He's like, what the hell is that? He's like, oh, when you die outside of your timeline, it's messy. I'm like, no, that don't look very messy. Just kind of easy cleanup.
It's like no, it's like all your atoms and everything else just disperse. Like you have entered the void.
Yeah. But it was a cool like effect of them just. Psh. And surprisingly, and then like in the middle of this battle, as looks like they're about to lose, homegirl Zoe Saldana shows up out of nowhere and just starts murking dudes, and it's like. I love that fight scene where she's like, with them together are just like fucking people up, and like, just the camera moves and edits during that fight scene. I'm like, man, this is a cool shot. Like,
the way it was choreographed and everything else. Like, I mean, there was definitely some artistic flair. And
the soundtrack to this movie too. It's like, I mean, it's not as hair metal epic as we talked about Peacemaker last week. But...
And it wasn't quite on the Guardians level, but there were definitely nods and certain vibes. It's like somebody's gunning for a shot at Hey, do you like my pun?
Yeah. Because it all comes back to blaming James Gunn, because like after Guardians came out, it's like every cool movie has to have badass soundtrack if you're gonna have like action and shit.
But at the same time, like I gotta say, like I've went and seen several different symphony orchestras, where basically they play the film on mute and do all the musical score and everything else, and like surprisingly most films that I've seen done that, like I did not realize how much music and are just subtle little riffs, to tie into certain action sequences and stuff. It's like I would have never caught that.
Yeah, because
outside of
the explosion and the like the actual action of the thing, you don't realize how much. Most of the time, you don't notice the score of the movie, but you would notice if it wasn't there.
Yes,
it's kind of interesting how that works. And yeah, I mean, most of your movies, their action sequences are kind of like Duel of the Fates and Star Wars. Like, it's usually an orchestral accompaniment to like the action, but it's like now it's like, nah, like when we're having an action sequence, we got to play like cool known music. We got to turn everything into like a music video in action movies now.
So we're all Rob Zombie?
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm like, I don't hate the trend. I like it. Like,
no, I mean,
like, here's music's kicking up. We're about to see some badass shit.
But see, I think that would be a great like opportunity for misdirection. Like, just have this epic build-up musically, and then nothing.
They're just eating sandwiches in the park,
licking ice cream at a park bench.
Yeah, like, oh, that's kind of a letdown.
Make memes worthy again.
Yeah. Oh,
what movie was that? I never remember the movie.
Is it with the death metal guy eating ice cream? Oh, that's Deathgasm.
Okay, yeah. I can never remember.
This was like, I saw that picture as a meme so many times before I actually saw the movie. And then I was like, holy shit, that's where that meme comes from. I understand it now. It's a weird Finnish horror movie.
It's not weird. It's unique. I can't tell if the dogs are howling or if it's the wind.
I think it's still the wind.
It's getting more and more chilly back here. Like,
welcome to the last Cigar Nerd Podcast. This was all posted from found footage when people found the recordings after they pulled our
before the nuclear winter set in. Like, like no, there's no breeze today. That's just the backlash of atomic energy because we've fucking been nuked. Like.
Oh.
Maybe we can come back as a cockroach or something, I
mean, we're not cockroaches now. Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, when they finally re-team with Laura, I believe is her name, and she tells him like that she was someone tried to kill her because she discovered that Soren, who is the kind of the leader of the future, She's like, I was looking at log sheets and I got there's a log of a time ship returning, but no log of a time ship leaving. So somebody changed the future, and the only way that would have, or like, Ryan was like, that doesn't make any sense. And finally, like, younger Ryan Reynolds is like, dude, it means like somebody changed the past. So the only way they could have come back without leaving was if they're coming back to a future that's changed. He's like, how did you trade all your brains for those muscles? That was a horrible deal. He's like, how'd you get so smart? How'd you get so dumb?
But I kind of like, where it goes from being this like scrawny, picked on kid to being like, dude, you have muscles? You must get chicks. Like, so do we get laid? Like,
he's like, so time travel, the fate of the universe, all that shit. The only thing you want to know about is like, do we get laid? Come on, grow up, man. He's like, oh, dude, we totally get laid.
I mean, priorities.
Yeah, he's like, did they all skip leg day in the future?
No. Just skip gym day.
I mean, do we have to work out for that? Or is it like genetics and the, gene therapy in the future? Oh. Yeah, when he starts, hey, my wife's back. And the kid's like, yeah, I'm going to take my young eyes, young ears. I'm going to take a walk. Y'all two have fun. But unfortunately, bad guys track. Anyway, she's like, believes that Soren had went back in time to give her younger self information, and that's what destroyed the future. And I like the kids,
these
like
Lord of the Ring references.
Yeah, and
the Eye of Soren.
Yeah, pretty much. But I like the kids, like, so is things bad in the future? Because it never really shows the future. We see the future from space, but we never actually see the future.
But I think it's great, though, because, like...
But the description of it, he's like, you remember Terminator? Yeah? He's like, that's
so much worse.
That's the future on a good day.
But I don't know what the budget was, on this. But I felt like this is one of those films where the budget goes toward the cast because things were done like
the digitizing bodies, and like that final battle had to be expensive. The one inside the reactor. But yeah, that other than that, yeah, most of it's like said set at that cabin or in the town, like
at the beach house.
Yeah, it's like they spent all their money on those, couple big action sequences. Then after that, it's just all.
Yeah, we saw that with the Book of Fett.
All conversations. Yeah.
But I mean, the conversations were engaging and everything else. Like it was weird because normally I'm the type of person that's like, all right, whatever, action film, like keep the action going. But like the dialogue and stuff was, intriguing and quirky, and so, when it was time to be serious, like, you were almost laser focused.
Yeah, I mean, it was surprisingly very heartfelt too. Like the scenes where he's like, because they figure out that it kind of all hinges around their father. He's the one who actually invented time travel, or invented the technology that made time travel possible. And they have to go back to see him, and it's like the first time either of them have seen him since he passed, where young Adam is very misses him, while older Adam is like kind of hateful of him, and he's like, well, he was gone before. I missed him before he was even dead because he was never around. He was always working. And they had that after they try to get their dad's help, and he's like, no, I can't help y'all because that's going to fuck up the future. And you're like, dude, the future's already fucked up. We're trying to fix things. And he has that conversation. He's like, I think you hate Dad because it's easier than missing him. And I think you don't remember things that I still do. Like, even though, like you said, he worked all the time, he made time every time he came home to throw the ball with me and, did all this stuff for me that you've kind of blocked out.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, even the thing like the pitchback, right?
Yeah.
Like,
he bought that so he wouldn't have to play with me. Like, no, he bought that because I begged him for it. Like every time we walked by that store, and them kind of coming to the movie's about coming to term with, like, I guess, loss and, like, dealing with, loss and learning how to move on and whatnot. So it's like, yeah, there's a very, like, kind of heartfelt message behind this silly sci-fi action film. And it's like, oh, especially like at the end, like where like before we dissolve into nothingness, let's have a fucking shit, what's that movie with the cornfield, build it and they will come.
Children of the Corn?
No. The baseball one.
Angels in the Outfield?
No, the other baseball one with Kevin Costner.
Sandlot?
Where he's playing pitch with his dad at the end because he's a ghost.
Not the Sandlot?
Field of Dreams, asshole. It's like, we got to have our Field of Dreams moment at the end so we can play catch.
I don't know if I've ever seen that movie.
With our dead dad. It's about him building a baseball field in a cornfield so he can play baseball with his dead dad. It's a movie about fathers.
I mean, you just said baseball, so, I mean, fuck. At least I named baseball movies. I didn't say Happy Gilmore.
Oh, shit. But yeah, it's like I said, that final moment of them finally getting to play catch with their dad again, and it's like, oh, fuck, I didn't want to feel in this movie. Why'd y'all make me feel?
You're getting old and soft. Like
especially around
pizza.
the middle. Fucking Taekwon pizza, you son of a bitch. You dad joked me. I'm kind of proud.
For your listeners at home, Taekwon pizza.
How do you
What's
make
the
that?
main ingredient? Got to have a little Taekwondo. I mean, not only from the dad joke, but you in martial arts should appreciate that even a little bit more. Like, that's one that I expect you to take back to the gym. Like,
yep. Oh, fuck. But yeah. So yeah, when dad won't help him, they're like, well, we're going to have to go destroy the time machine, the reactor, so she can't invent time travel. It's like, how do we do that? He's like, remember all that future tech shit that I wouldn't let you play with? Now you get a chance to play with it. I liked earlier when he gets faced with his bullies, he's like, no, I'm going to tell you how to, fight your bullies. You have to walk up and look at them like they don't want to fight you. And you smile, and then you punch him in the nuts. He said, but this fight's got to happen.
They didn't say nuts. They said bathing suit parts.
Yeah. So he's like, the kid's like flying the battle drone to help back up Ryan Reynolds. And he gets surrounded by all the drones. And he's like, you going to back me up? He's like, oh, they don't want to fight you. No, I'm pretty sure they want to fight me. Here's what you got to do. You got to look at him and smile. And then punch him in the bathing suit part. It's like, damn it, Adam. I'm gonna get killed here. And he's like, yeah, payback's a bitch, motherfucker.
And they went to Zap City.
Yeah. No. And
then a drone like that? How does one get a drone like that?
You gotta go to the future. Or Amazon, probably.
To Amazon.
Maybe DARPA. Hey man, I seen the robot dogs. Y'all get them like flying laser drones that can fly with like gloves and VR headsets and shoot weird gravity weapons. But yeah, when Mark Ruffalo finally shows back up to decide to help them, he's like, "You can't destroy a time machine." It's like, she'll just fix it. He's like, "Well, all right, smart guy. How do we fix it?" It's like, "Well, the mathematical equation that runs the thing, that's the thing you got to destroy." He's like, all right, well, how do you destroy math? He's like, well, it only exists inside this one hard drive that no one knows how to build and in my head, and I'm not shared that piece of math with anybody, so we just got to blow up the hard drive that runs the freaking reactor. And he's like, oh, what does he say? He says something like, he's like, yeah, we got to go down to a diamond hard drive in the basement. He's like, are we talking about your penis? Are you 12? It's like, this keep making like dick jokes. Good times.
It's nice that, this film can appeal to the child in you in such, pivotal moments of gravitas. And
Yeah, because it doesn't matter how dangerous the situation is, there's always time for dick jokes.
Well, I like the part too where it's like, ooh, superhero landing.
Yes, that is like the most Deadpool moment because they're fighting in the reactor room, and a shot goes off and hits the glass. So it's like all of a sudden this thing basically is like trying to implode. It's like all of a sudden like gravity's like doubling and stuff, and it's pretty cool because like one of the guys grabs the kid as he's getting sucked into the machine, is like stuck against the glass, and the kid finally they're like, wait a minute, my gloves are like magnetized, so let me just like take one off and squish this guy's head with it as it tries to suck it through the dude's head, and then slides down the wall. And of course, like Ryan Reynolds, fighting Kristoff, which is like the main enforcer for Syria, and drops his lightsaber staff, and the kid's like, oh yeah, finally get the lightsaber staff, and like activates it, uses it to like jump up to the next level, and then does a perfect superhero landing, just looks around and goes, superhero landing. And I'm like, fucking little Deadpool.
Yes.
I was like, literally watching it, I mean, that's the part where I was like, I'm like fucking full on like clapping in front of the I'm like, that is the moment of the movie. And then he's like, starts actually doing some decent like bow staff work, and he's like, oh yeah, you about to get your ass kicked by a 12-year-old with asthma. And the dude just punches him in the face, and he's like, nope. Good try, kid. Gotta start going to the gym.
Gotta get big and strong. Gotta start eating them veggies.
Or even before that, when they're...
Damn, I'm hungry.
When they figure out they gotta... kind of the real mission to get back to 2018 and stop the bad future from happening. The plane has, I guess, like an AI, and it's like, I can detect you're injured, so you're not cleared for flight status. So he's kind of forced to bring his younger self along to get a clean DNA read so the plane will actually fly. And then they're battling, having the future jet, and she's like, your reactor's damaged, you only got one more jump. If you don't come back to the future now, you're not going to come back. And he just looks at the kid, and he's like, all right, it's up to you. Are we going to, do this? And he's like, punch that shit. He's like, oh yeah. Cue the music. We're gonna do something cool. I said this whole movie, like, I kind of got vibes of, remember Flight of the Navigator?
Yes.
It like very much like reminded me of that that movie. Flight of the Navigator, maybe even The Last Starfighter. That's a movie I'm surprised they haven't like remade yet. It's like a new Last of the Starfighter movies.
I don't know. Let it be.
I mean, it's a classic movie, but it's like everything nowadays gets a remake or a reboot.
A remake or a reboot, like, I
think one of the reasons I like this movie so much is because it's an original.
But is it original? I mean,
nothing is original. There's only so many plot devices you can use, but at least it's not a sequel or a remake to something that we've seen 5 or 6 times. It's, at least original on the surface. It may be inspired by things. They definitely quote some Deadpool and some Star Wars through this, but yeah, it's like at least it's something that appears to be.
I mean, it was much better than do it and we'll cancel your ass, motherfucker. Fucking Texas Chainsaw.
Oh God, we were gonna do an episode on that, and rarely is something so bad that we're like, we don't even want to talk about it.
I mean, I'm such a fan of the franchise too, and I get it. We've
reviewed things that we don't necessarily like, but there was some positivity in it, so we didn't shit on it for the entire hour. But this one was like, I don't think we can not shit on this for an entire hour, so we just didn't do it. Halloween episode, our Texas Chainsaw Massacre episode.
I mean, the franchise has an identity crisis, much like the Halloween franchise. But yeah, I mean, just. That was one thing that I did like about this film is, it was familiar, but it stayed in its own lane. It didn't try to be something it wasn't, and that worked really well.
I gotta say, there was one minor plot hole that my wife pointed out. We watched it, and she's like, all right, if the plane won't fly for Ryan Reynolds because he's injured, and he's got to use young Adam's DNA to fly the plane, wouldn't his asthma disqualifying him from flying? And I'm like, don't look too hard at it. It's like,
but I mean, asthma isn't necessarily I guess it can be.
I don't know if that's would disqualify you from flying in real life, but I'm like, she's like, yeah, but he's got asthma. Wouldn't that I'm like,
dude, I got asthma. I fly all the time.
yeah, but you're not the pilot.
Have asthma.
I'm like, you can outgrow that shit. It's all good.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what I did. I mean, there was a time where, like, I'd spend months in the hospital and shit like that because of asthma.
Oh, yeah, I had bad asthma when I was a child, but yeah, eventually I just, like, outgrew it and things started working, and then I started smoking.
And that's kept Corona at bay, and, I mean, dude, we survived a pandemic with our, keeping our lungs full of cigar smoke so the Rona couldn't invade.
Yeah, nothing can grow in there. Oh.
It's like one of my managers the other day was like, so how do we get you to stop vaping? Letting me smoke cigars. It's like, yeah, continue vaping.
Yeah, that's kind of how the conversation I had with my doctor's nurse the other day. She's like, doing the going in for a checkup, and they're doing like the questionnaire. And it's like, all right, do you drink? I'm like, not really. Like, quarterly I might drink. So, all right, are you smoking? I'm like, well, I smoke cigars, a couple a week. And she's like, you thought about quitting that? I'm like, hell no, because you've already made me give up like alcohol and sugar. I quit smoking. What's the point of living longer? This is what keeps me sane at this point. I've given up all the other good things in life. If I give up cigars, I'm like, what's the point of living another 40 years?
Yeah, that whole, well, we're going to prolong your life, but at some point there's a quality of life.
At what cost? Oh.
Like, if I got to be in a vegetative state, hell no. Pull the fucking plug, Like, if I can't do whatever it is I do, I don't know what I do anymore. But whatever that is, if I can't do it, like...
And I do like that despite all the action and all that, it was science that saved the future. Because you find that, main bad lady
science
gets
I felt like you tried to segue there, but we're a little bit early for that segue.
Gets them rifle pointing at him, and the dad's like, all right, everybody get behind me. And he's like, Dad, those are armor piercing bullets. For standing behind you, it's just gonna go right through you and kill us. All right, maybe we should like spread out more. And then the bad lady's like, you never understood the big picture, and she shoots him. But then, like, the gravitational pull of the reactor...
Dude, they totally stole that from the Matrix.
Yeah, pulls the bullet off course and goes into her past self and kills the future bad lady. And he's like, yeah, and you never understood the science, bitch. And then, like, oh, maybe we should get out of here before this building implodes.
I mean, it is a reactor, after all.
Yeah, like, they get on the elevator, and he's like, oh, this is where you work. It's taking 40 years for you to show me where you work. It's like, fair enough. And they all come out of the elevator all like disheveled from being in this big action sequence. He's like, yeah, take your kid to work day has kind of gone off the rails.
I think that's sort of what's expected with take your kid to work day, though. Like, any of those, environments that I've been in that, had those type of events, like...
I'm sure that's like a Hollywood myth. I don't think I've ever had like a take your child to work day.
Oh, dude,
taken to work.
One of the offices I worked in, we had a bring your dog to work day, and
now that we had at our office, we had an open dog policy at my old office before I started working from home. There was always a dog or something running around the office.
Like, I don't know. I could take Arabella because Arabella would be okay. The two new puppies though, oh hell no, it'd be like. Especially one of them. Like, I legit think, like, her pupils dilate and everything. I'm like, oh, shit, she's done got the crazy eyes. She's about to go full-on cocaine mode. And, dude.
It's time for the zoomies.
There's no stopping. I'm like, legit, like, when I had the
Pandora
longer
would just
beard.
walk around licking everyone.
Yes. But, like, when I had the longer beard, like, no joke, literally the dog is, like, hanging from my beard, like, grabbing a mouthful of, beard hair. Like, I'm going to get as close to your face to lick you, but I'm probably going to bite you in the process of trying to lick you. It's like, that's my nose you bit, Like, not like viciously, but just... I'm so crazy with my tongue that my teeth are going to scrape you.
Yeah, that's like dogs roughhouse with each other, and at some point they like don't realize you're not a dog, and they're like, I want to roughhouse with you too. What, you don't like it when I bite you? The other dogs like it when I bite them. It's funny. Hey, bite me back. Like, no, I'm not a dog.
No, they do not appreciate being bit back. I tried, and at first I got the fuck did you just do, and then I got the snarl. It's like,
I'm the alpha, motherfucker.
It's like, bitch, I'm bigger than you. Meanwhile, the other dog's like, special and can't figure out blankets and falls off the bed trying to figure out how to get himself covered up.
Let me in.
Even when he's in, it's like a cat, though. Like, he tries to do that whole circle 5 times, and instead of just laying down, it's like, oh, I'm going to walk around, and I'm on an elevated surface, and I'm falling. I'm falling.
I say, my little cat the other day, it was like, funny, because she ended up getting out, and dog tried to get a hold of her, but I don't think they punctured anything, but she definitely got smacked a little bit, so she was kind of, first couple days, just kind of limping around, and then she'd go to try to jump up on something and not have the lift that she normally did, and would just like kind of crash. Like, you're gonna have to stay low for a little while, kitty, until you get where you can, leg works enough for you to jump back on top of things. But yeah, the first couple times, like, I'm gonna jump on the counter like I normally do. Oh, I just hit the drawer. I'm like 6 inches short. This didn't work. Nobody look at me. I'm embarrassed now. I'm gonna go hide.
And I'm out. Dude, I gotta say, this is one of the better Kristoffs that I've smoked.
Yeah, like, several of them, like, usually a milder, I wouldn't call it mild, but, like, more medium, not as strong, but I was like, you're gonna put Ligero in the name, you better, like, come with the thunder, and this is, so far, about, I don't know, halfway point for me is...
I won't say that, it's...
I've had stronger, but this is probably the strongest Kristoff I've had.
Yes, I absolutely would agree with that. But it's surprisingly balanced.
Yeah.
Between the Maduro and the Ligero, like, it adds a nice complexity that I don't find with most Kristoffs.
Yeah, it's like getting when you try a hot sauce and it's like all burn and no flavor. That's not as fun as something that it is hot but also gives you like a lot of flavor. That's like what I prefer in a hot sauce, and it's kind of the same thing with the cigar.
I keep forgetting to bring you my little vial of death to let you try.
We still haven't opened the whoop ass ghost pepper sauce over there.
I mean,
we're not recording next weekend. We should like do the Book of Pain for the YouTubes.
We gotta
get some nuggies and burn ourselves.
Yeah, we got to get some nuggies, and
we definitely can't record that on a day that we're recording a podcast because we won't be able to talk afterward.
I'll probably have to poop a lot.
That could be a podcast. My tongue don't work. I'm gonna have to shit himself.
Can I just bring my poop be gone bucket?
Yeah. So yeah, we should be able to. We should film that at a time where we don't have to do anything afterward. That way, if we like shit ourselves, we're not on the mics.
And it should be warm. That way we can just hose our off.
Oh.
Or find a creek somewhere,
Oh, I got a bucket. Just dump a bucket on. Do the whatever, the old ice water challenge, but with your butthole.
I'm gonna opt out of that.
So, any final thoughts on this here movie?
Dude, it was great. It was comedic. It hit every mark that it described, and this was great because you're just like, dude, I'll watch this. It was pretty good. I didn't even fucking know it was out, and it was one of those. It's just, I can dig it. It's refreshing. It's sort of its own thing at the same time. Has similarities to franchises that I already like, and
and it was kind of wrapped up in a nice.
Yeah, dude, it was like an hour and 45 minutes, so it's like...
But most movies today, they all count on, this is going to be a trilogy, so we're going to set up the next movie and leave you hanging because we want to make sure we got something for another movie that may or may not ever happen. Where this one, they wrapped up their story nicely. Like I said, I don't know if it needs a sequel. Definitely didn't allude to a sequel.
Yeah,
So,
no, I mean
it was a nice self-contained
it does
story.
great, standalone. Like, I mean, I almost wouldn't have been disappointed seeing this in theaters. I mean, it's cool that it's already included in my streaming service and whatnot, but
at least the jet scenes would have been cool on a big screen, like just for the full like epicness of it.
But I mean, great. Just I don't know, man. Like this is almost like a coming of age story, or I don't know. I mean, I guess it's as an adult you forget what it's like to be a kid, and as a kid you don't understand exactly all of the sacrifices that adults, make to give you that perception that no, everything's all right, because I don't want you to see how broken everything really is.
Yeah, it was like it did a good job of like adult Adam learning kind of how to be a kid again, and kid Adam learning to
I need to show some,
not like a petulant, because he's kind of an asshole at the
start. And that's the thing. It's like there's a difference between being, sort of a smart ass or whatever. But I mean, in a lot of regards, like, dude, you may not physically be a bully, but attitude-wise, you're a fucking bully yourself. Like,
Yeah, that conversation he has with his mom in the bar, and he's like, are you grieving? He's like, oh yeah, I'm definitely grieving. He's like, well then you've got to let him know that, because you trying to be strong for him makes him think you're not as hurt as he is. And so he's like, y'all got to like communicate that. And then later on he's like, hey, if any of this, like, because since the future has changed, both of them kind of blip out of existence. He's like, hey, if Laura's theory was like, this is in our DNA, part of this will still exist inside you no matter how the future changes or whatnot. So find me again in the future. And he's like, hey, if any of this actually does exist, like Laura said, like, hug your mom for me when you get home. And sure enough, he like, it's like he just kind of has that moment like, I remember to do something. He runs and like hugs his mom, and is like not a dick to her for the first time. And she's like, are you hugging me? Yeah. He's like, all right, I just want to make sure I wasn't getting mugged.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe you are.
From mugs to hugs.
So what do you think of this? Well, shit, we kind of said what we thought about the cigar so far. So my normal wrap up of, hey, got any final thoughts on this cigar before we, which not even if I'm hell, this thing's got a long burn. I'm only about halfway through on my end. So, but I'm impressed with this so far. Like I said, I've had stronger cigars, but this is probably the most strong and flavorful out of a Kristoff I've had so far. So yeah, this one may make it into the rotation.
Yeah, this is just well balanced is, where I'll leave it. And
with that, YouTube people, like, comment, and subscribe. Everyone else will be right back. And you've been watching the Cigar Nerds Podcast. Check us out on cigarnerdpodcast.com. We're on the ESO Network at esonetwork.com. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Cigar Nerd Pod. Remember, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Like, comment, and subscribe.